Today for math, we are going to be learning about classifying polygons. It's math lesson 8.16, and you can fill in the date. You need to find these colors, green, blue, purple, and a pencil. And you can pause the video to go find that, but I also want you to find in your workbook page 353 and rip it out so that you have these things ready for math today. So pause the video and go get page 353. Rip it out, make sure you have these three colors, and you can set up your journal like this, and then resume the video. So to classify a polygon, we first need to understand what a polygon is. A polygon is a closed two-dimensional shape made from line segments that don't cross each other. So you can see on page 353, if you have it out as well, we have lots of two-dimensional shapes. Remember, a two-dimensional shape just means a flat shape. So it's not things like a cube or a rectangular prism or a triangular prism. It has to be a flat shape. So it says two-dimensional shapes can be made up of line segments or curves or both. So you can see this is line segments. This one has curves. This one has a line segment and curves. That's just called a two-dimensional shape. Two-dimensional shapes can either be open shapes or closed. So this is open because it doesn't fill all the way, and this one is closed. So they're just kind of explaining two-dimensional shapes really quickly. And then they're going into what is a polygon, though. So based on our definition, and the one that's right here, a polygon has to be a two-dimensional shape, but it can only have line segments, and they don't cross each other, and it has to be closed. So no curves, has to be closed, has to be flat, and only line segments. I think to understand what a polygon is, you've been learning them almost all of your life. You've been learning, triangles, rectangles, squares. You probably have already heard of pentagons, hexagons, octagons, those kinds of things. So the very first thing that we're going to do in this math journal is to draw some things that are actually, I think, before we draw any more of that stuff, it might be good for us to just work on page 353. So keep these crayons out and put them to the side. And we're going to skip this part that talks about concave and convex. We're going to save that for a little bit later, but we're going to skip all the way to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to answer these questions. It says, tell whether each figure is a polygon. So we're going to refer back to this definition or the one in your journal. If it is not a polygon, explain why it does not fit the definition. Okay, take a look at number 1. A polygon has to be a closed two-dimensional shape made from line segments that don't cross each other. So number 1 is not a polygon. So we're just going to write not. And then it says explain why. Okay, explain why it does not fit it. In this situation, it's because it is not closed. This shape is not closed. That's one of the requirements to be a polygon. How about this shape? Is it closed? Yes. Is it 2D, meaning only 2 dimensions? Yes. Are there only line segments and no curves? Yes. Do any of the lines cross each other? No. So this one is a polygon. In fact, this is a quadrilateral, and all quadrilaterals are polygons. So that's cool. Number 3. Is this a polygon? Well, it's closed. It's two-dimensional, meaning it's just flat. No line segments cross over each other. So this is yes. That is a polygon. Number 4. Is number 4 a polygon? Is it a closed shape? Yes. Are there any curves? No. So far it's a polygon. Is it two-dimensional? Yes. Do any lines cross each other? And that is exactly what is happening here. So this is not a polygon because the lines cross each other. So we'll say line segments cross each other. Okay. Number 5, is that a polygon? I want you to answer that in your head before we write it. Is this a polygon? Ask yourself, is it closed? Is it 2D? Do any line segments cross each other? Is it only line segments or are there curves? Remember, if there are curves, it is not a polygon. So therefore, this one is not. Hopefully you answered that correctly, because right here is a curve. So we'll just say this shape has a curve. Or we can say this shape is curved. That might be a little bit easier to say. This shape is curved. And number 6, is this a polygon? Is it closed? Yes. Is it 2D? Yes. Are there only line segments? Yes. Do any of them cross each other? No. So therefore it is a polygon. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut out this section and we're going to glue it. Well, actually we're not going to cut it out yet, but we're going to leave a space for it in our journal to be gluing it right here underneath our definition of a polygon. Okay, I think it's really interesting to look at their examples of polygons and to look at their non-examples. So when you look at the polygons here, they're all open, they're only line segments, none of them ever cross each other, so that's pretty good. Here are the not polygons. This one because it crosses, this is round, and this one is not closed. So those are not polygons as well. Polygons don't just have to be these basic shapes. Like you can see, that's kind of an odd shape. A polygon could also be, you're going to draw this on here as well, it could be the shape of Utah because it's not rounded, right? It could be the shape of an arrow as long as the arrow is open, right? And no lines cross each other. But an example of a non-polygon of a star would be if you did the classic, right? Because then you are having line segments cross. But if you leave it open, then it would be considered a polygon. Let's go ahead and take our green and we're going to outline all of these polygons. And recognize that they're all line segments, or they're all straight lines. None of them cross each other. Oops. Even in the shape Utah. Okay, those are all polygons. Go ahead and color those in. The next thing we're going to talk about in the next video is about, now that we know what a polygon is, how do we further classify that polygon into things called concave or convex. So go ahead and watch the next video for that.